Okay, give me 10 minutes and I'll tell you about elements, compounds and mixtures. Now, or what is stuff made of? Now, this is an age-old question that took us a couple of thousand years to figure out the answer to, and I could do a whole history lesson on how it came about, but I'm just going to start with the answer here. We now know that, for example, if you took a piece of copper, right, 1 bar of copper, and chopped it in half, and then chopped it in half again, and made it smaller and smaller and smaller, there would come a time where you can't cut it anymore, you would be able to get the smallest possible piece of copper, and that's called a particle. Right? There comes a point where you've got a piece of copper that's so microscopically small that if you cut that in half, or if you could cut it in half, it wouldn't be copper anymore. Right? Each of those pieces wouldn't be copper anymore. There is a smallest possible part, and we've called them particles. There are 2 different types of particles. We'll worry about what they are later on. But this is the smallest possible piece of copper. Now, if you could see these copper particles together, it might look something like this. Right? Now, they're too small to see. They're microscopic, so you never get this view. But if you could see it, they would look something like this. And you could chop them up and chop them up and chop them up, but eventually you're going to get down to 1. And once you get down to 1 of these copper particles, that is as small as a piece of copper gets, and that's it. Water's the same. Same deal with water. Here's a drop of water. If we could freeze that and then chop it in half and keep on chopping and chopping and chopping, I couldn't, believe it or not, I couldn't find pictures of half chopped water drops. We would eventually get down to this. This is 1 H2O particle. A lot of people know that the formula for water is H2O. We'll worry about what that means a little bit later. But this, if you could see it, would be 1 piece of water. And if you chop that in half, if you pull that apart, it's not water anymore. Right? So there is a smallest possible piece. Now, these two types of materials are both pure materials. Now, by pure, we mean there's only one thing in it. Right? Every single piece of the bar of copper is one of these copper particles. There's nothing else there. If I had a magic pair of tweezers and I could reach into this copper bar and pull out 1 piece, it would always be a copper particle. There's nothing else in there. That's pure. Same with water. Right? The formula for water is H2O. Every piece of water is one of these guys. And that drop just has gazillions of those, but there's nothing else in there. If I reached in and pulled 1 piece out, I would always get an H2O. It's made of only 1 type of particle. They are pure substances. Contrasting that with this other thing up here that I've got, mixtures. Here goes a mixture now. There you go. I'll get it in picture. I'm great at cinematography, aren't I? Okay. This is concrete over here. Concrete is a mixture because it's made of different things. It's made of 3 pure substances. It's made of cement, which is this sort of grey powdery stuff. It's made of water, and it's made of sand. And if you mix those 3 together, you end up getting concrete when it all dries. So concrete is completely different to any one of these things. We've made a brand new stuff, a brand new material out of 3 other things. Right? But it's not pure, because while it was still wet and you could sort of stir it, if you could reach into that with a magic pair of tweezers and pull out 1 piece, you might get a piece of cement, you might get a piece of H2O, and you might get a grain of sand. Right? It's not all made of one thing. Right? So mixtures, if you had to have a definition for mixtures, mixtures are made of 2 or more different types of particles. Can he write it? There you go. That's a mixture. These guys up here are not mixtures. They're pure. They were only made of 1 type of particle. Right? All H2O, all copper, pure. Right? This, not so much.